Nuruddin from Birmingham. May Allah bless you and your loved ones. What are the boundaries and conditions concerning relaying fatwas?
Question is from the UK, from Nuruddin. May Allah bless him. With regards to what are the boundaries of conveying and relaying fatwa, etc. There are simple boundaries, and there are boundaries or issues which aren't so simple. The simple boundaries are very easy and very simple. وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ. If you don't know, then don't say. Whether you're making it up yourself, your own ijtihad, whether you're passing on, making naql and tabligh from a scholar, if you know that that's what it is, and there's a need, someone comes to you, then you give. That's the simple ruling. And if you don't know, or if you're unsure, then stay away from it. It's just that simple. And every verse that you find, or every hadith that you find, or like we were being asked earlier, we know the real dalil nowadays is not the Quran and the Sunnah. The real dalil is the statements of scholars. Right? Unfortunately, that's the true dalil. The Quran and the Sunnah is not enough. You don't understand it properly, fulan. I was on YouTube just last night, YouTube surfing. And I'm not saying nothing about nobody specifically, but I landed on some, Hyde Park or Speaker's Corner videos from the UK. And they were debating a Christian guy, right? I'm not mentioning no names. They're debating with a Christian guy, and the Muslim guy, the first thing that he said was, what scholars have said this? What scholars have said that? What scholars? And that's all he kept saying to a Christian. Scholars. So that's the dalil today, is what Sheikh Fulan said, and not qala Allah, qala Rasulullah. Unfortunately. So at the end of the day, all of the statements that you find about the Salaf running from fatwa, running from speaking, running from teaching, you'll find the equal amount, if not more, of how they did teach, and how they did give fatwa, and they did pass on hadith, and they did spread their knowledge. And the best proof and evidence for that is that the statement of Imam Ahmed reached us. How did it reach us if Imam Ahmed was in his house crying all day and all night? Everyone understand this? We've explained this in Kitab al-Ilm of Zuhair ibn Harb, Abu Khaythama. So at the end of the day, if you don't know, then stay away from it. If you do know and there is a need, then give it. That's the simple concept. As far as some of the technicalities, and one of the reasons behind mass confusion is what is a fatwa? And who is allowed to give a fatwa? Some people feel that a fatwa is an absolute ruling. That's the hukm shar'i. And some people believe that a fatwa is passing on what someone else says. Some people believe a fatwa is saying what Allah and His Messenger say. Some people believe that you can't give a fatwa unless you're a sheikh or a scholar, or if you're of a certain age, or if you're an Arab, or whatever the case may be. There's all types of confusion with what a fatwa is. If you go back to the Arabic lexicons, the dictionaries of the Arabic language, let alone the books of the ulama, the fuqaha, you'll find a basic breakdown of al-ifta. And there is no one ruling upon which all of them agree on what it linguistically or technically means. Some say al-ikhbaru an hukmillah. It's to inform someone of the ruling of Allah. To inform someone of the ruling of Allah. So a brother comes up to you and he says, can I wipe over leather socks? And you say, yes, you can. Linguistically and also technically, that is a what? That's a fatwa. And you don't have to be a big scholar or sheikh to do that. Someone comes up to you and he asks you about wiping over business socks, thin socks, dress socks. And you say, well, I think that you can because they're this and maybe that, and they come from this material, and we live in 2019, and we're in the UK, and you start making your own ijtihad and breaking it down, we say, you can't give that what? Fatwa. That's not your place if you're not qualified for that. And if you are qualified for it, then that's a different story. Everyone understand this? So there are ins and outs with regards to what is or what isn't a what? A fatwa. There lies no doubt, like all other issues, the people have monopolized the understandings and the concepts for their own worldly gain. They've monopolized the mafahim for their own worldly gain. There is no fatwa in the UK. And that allows us to be the only supplier of fatwa from our scholars that we handpick. That's a systematic way that they've done that. We can't have no one in America, or as the ignorant people have said, there are no scholars in the West. 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 They're not saying that because they actually believe that in their heart. But they're saying that because they want to monopolize the Islamic information and how the people understand things. What's the rule on this is hijab, this is talaq, this is sunnah. You can't go here because our sheikh said so. And even deeper than that is that you're not following the ulama, and you're not listening to the ulama, you're following and listening to a translator who has an agenda, who is a part of their indoctrination. So what is or what isn't a fatwa is not so absolute and what? Simple. Everyone understand this? At the end of the day, a fatwa is a fatwa. Sometimes the fatwa could be absolutely binding if it's based off of the Quran and the Sunnah. And other times the fatwa is not what? Binding. It can be based off of ijtihad, or it isn't that clear what? To you. And there is no age or specification with regards to these things of who can and cannot give a fatwa. But it's about the content of the fatwa, the qualification of the one who's passing on that ikhbar. Everyone understand this? That's in brief. That's what? That's in brief. Wallahu alam.